Friends, as you know that in May of this year, I came across a United Nations press release given by the Under Secretary General of the United Nations, which is one step below the Secretary General. And he was especially had a portfolio called against genocide. So he made a statement about his unhappiness with the government of India's introduction of the CAA and quoted my speech totally out of, by cut and paste thing. I don't, I can't say that he did it, but he relied on a Pakistani TV station which is registered in Canada, which had come here on the recommendation of an Indian journalist's recommendation to interview me, and they interviewed me for an hour. And then they did a cut and splice job of 3 minutes, which was played all over the world. It is a TV station called VICE, Truly Vice. and and in that, basically what happened is they said, isn't there a constitutional article of Article 14 of equality before the law? And so Muslims shouldn't have been left out of the CIA. I said, first of all, there are no Muslims who come to India for religious persecution, and this category was only for religious persecution. And then, just as you can't talk about equality in that circumstance, just as if a scheduled caste gets reservations in jobs and universities, I cannot say as a Brahmin that that is discrimination. If they get, then Brahmins should also get. If I were to say that, then there will be no reservations. So therefore, the Supreme Court has interpreted Article 14 to say that you can only compare equals, but you can't compare unequals. So I said, in this case, we cannot compare the Muslim population or Muslim people wanting to come to India to become citizens with those who came because they were forcibly driven out because of the religious persecution. If a Muslim comes for, say, political persecution, like Tariq Fateh or the Taslima from Bangladesh or Adnan Sami, we have given them citizenship's offer, and Sami, of course, accepted it. But the other two wanted to take citizenship of Canada and Sweden. So therefore, we have never stopped a Muslim coming through the regular route of Section 6 of the Citizenship Act. And even today, any citizen can come from Pakistan or Bangladesh or any Muslim country and come through that process. Here, these people came because of political persecution just after partition, where they were picked upon and they were rooted, raped, and God knows what all horrible things happened. And so Mahatma Gandhi, in his own prayer meeting, said that such people should be immediately given citizenship in India if they come here. And so they came, we produced a register, Congress party just delete. So when the BJP came to power, we found these people have been living in tents from now 2-3 generations. So we said we'll give them priority, and we said if before December 31st, 2014, if you have been 5 years here and you are here because of political persecution, you will be given, instead of the 11 years that you have to wait in the regular law. So we made a special law for a special case. This can't be repeated because this is a one-time matter. And we had in the list surviving members of 31,000, of which there were Hindus in big numbers, Sikhs, and then Christians were also there, and Buddhists, and we and Parsis. We had Parsis also, and so they all got citizenship by the fast track route. Now, how do I, if there were no Muslims in the register, what can I do? I can't go to Pakistan, catch somebody and say, please say that you are politically persecuted so that I can give you citizenship in India. So this is the crux of the matter. So I said, now what this Vice, this Pakistani TV did, which I only later on came to know is Pakistani owned, that they took away the part. I said, no, Muslims and Hindus in this matter cannot be considered equals. Muslims from Pakistan cannot be considered from Hindus of Pakistan in this matter of religious persecution. So therefore, they are not equals under Article 14. You have to be only equals can fight for equality, but different categories cannot be. And this is not my saying. This is the Supreme Court in a number of cases, which is there. So they cut and spliced that, and said Swamy says that Muslims are not equal to Hindus. And that was then picked up by Imran Khan, who's the Prime Minister, who obviously has no work because the army doesn't give him any work. So how long can you go on playing with women and your harem and all that? So he has to make some statement. So somebody put this slip of paper before him, and he said, oh, great RSS leader. I'm not an RSS leader. I certainly work with the RSS. But great RSS leader has made this statement that Muslims are not equal to Hindus in India. So then it was picked up here, there. But I was surprised when the UN Under Secretary General holds an official press briefing in which he says the same thing. And of course, the Indian Express also says the same thing. They gave money to a Pakistani to write an article, but didn't put in the article that he was a Pakistani. And they paid him a lot of money. And they are supposed to be bankrupt newspaper, but still they paid him a lot of money. And he said the same thing. And same thing with the interviewer in BBC Hard Talk or something. He told Ram Madhav. Ram Madhav in fact said to him, are you sure that he said it? Because if you didn't, he will file a defamation case against you, which I have done. So I filed 3 defamation cases, one against Indian Express, one against BBC, and one against the United Nations. And after I filed, this Under Secretary General was a coward, and he decided to say that he had immunity from prosecution. Yes, UN officials have immunity provided in the work you are doing. Suppose you go to some place where like Belgian Congo or Chile or somewhere where a lot of fundamental rights are being violated, and then you do something and the state then puts a case on you, false case on you, then of course you have immunity. But here I am not in the picture. The government is passed a law. Of course I supported it. But you don't rely on a cut place thing without even looking at the original, and you use the UN platform to do it. So then I sent them a notice, and then their legal cell of the United Nations replied. They said, we have relied on a tape. But I said, where is the tape? The tape is not available because it's all cut and spliced. And if they gave the original tape of 1 hour, they will be in big trouble. The Pakistani Vice, VICE, which is as I said, is the appropriate name for that. And therefore, this matter went to the United Nations Security General, because I wrote him a letter saying that the immunity would not apply. At least I wrote to the legal cell, I means Ishkaran Bhandari, because Ishkaran Bhandari was doing this, and he did it very, very well. I mean, I compliment him. And he pursued it. The United Nations office in Delhi was kind enough to deliver it to the Secretary General. And I must say, our foreign ministry, External Affairs Ministry, people are most of the time criticizing our foreign ministry for not being helpful, but they were very helpful. They told me that this is the procedure by which you can send, and our UN representative there in New York, he also apprised the Secretary General that our member of Parliament is about to file a defamation case. So the issue became hot because because of Corona I got a bit delayed, but I was going to do it by August 25th. And I had informed them also that I'll be filing it in the Indian court on August 25th, and he'll have to come here. And his term as UN Under Secretary General lasts till next April, or next July, excuse me. And the Qatar and Turkey and all had proposed him because he himself was a Muslim from Senegal. And I think all these Muslim countries supported it. But I think probably I'm making a guess. The United States and France and Israel, these are countries whom I sent copies to because they are democratic countries. And I wanted them to know, and the United States and France are actually permanent members of the Security Council. I got the impression, I have not been able to confirm it, that China abstained in this matter. And so the UN Security Council members all were in support that this has embarrassed us, this will lead us to greater trouble. And this is all my telling. Nobody has told me officially, but my sources I've also worked in the UN for a brief period, but I liked being a professor, so I went back to Harvard after a short stint in New York. So I know many people in the UN who were there with me at that time when I was young age of 23 or something like that, a junior officer, and they have now risen to high positions in the bureaucracy. And they all have told me that this has concerned the UN. It will also raise questions of immunity, and that right now it is an impression there's a completely wide protection, but I have found the loopholes, and then others will also do this. So I mean, so many considerations. I don't know. I'm not saying this officially, but I do know that end of July, the Secretary General wrote a very nice letter to Mr. Adama Dieng of Senegal, Under Secretary General, that you are now leaving us, and therefore we wish you very well. You have done extremely well. I hope you will continue. Yeah, the UN Secretary, UN is a diplomatic place, so they have to use diplomatic language. They can't say you have embarrassed us by invoking causing a defamation case and so on. So I take it. I respect the UN's dignity on this. I will not say that they have sacked him. That's for others to say. I can't say because I have no evidence that he was being sacked. But it is unusual that a man who had been, according to my information, been promised by the Arab nations, some of the Arab nations, that he would get an extension, and he did not get the extension. And I'm quite sure that if I've been in the place of the Secretary General, I would also be concerned. I mean, why should an individual be named by the UN Secretary General? He could have made a general statement that CAA is terrible, the United Nations against inconsistent with the UN charter, etc. And why was the need to name me by name and then say what I didn't say? Or at least when I wrote to him saying that please correct yourself, he didn't want to correct himself. He just kept silent. So therefore, you can't take a member of Parliament of India for a right like that. I mean, I'm not. I was educated in the United States. I know, and I know law. So I think it's the dignity of India was involved. And I'm sure that I have no information, but I'm sure that the External Affairs Ministry diplomats are all thrilled because we get kicked around by these UN types, you see. I mean, at least our diplomats are not treated very well. by these people, especially when they come from small countries. So therefore, there was a lot of encouragement that I fight it, but I am thankful to the United States and Israel and France. If France also was there, as people tell me, that when this consultation took place, they placed a point of view, not particularly connected with me, but a point of view that the UN officials should not enter into press controversy, and that controversy hurts the neutrality of the United Nations. So all told, I have lost the enjoyment of doing one case, but there are still two cases left, and I hope that the BBC also apologizes and or pays a price for it. And of course, Indian Express, they're going to get the benefit of my fist, legal fist, so to speak. I've never lost a defamation case in my life. And Jait Malani filed 4, and it was supposed to be a terror. He lost all. So one he won in a single judge high court, and then I went in appeal, and he himself went and said, no, I don't want to fight this case. And so that also he lost. He filed a case on behalf of Hegde, he lost that. Filed a case again on behalf of Vajpayee and the mayor of Bombay, some Prabhakar Pai, he lost that too. So he has been losing. So I have not lost a defamation case. So I know it like the back of my hand, and I was itching for some legal practice, because I haven't been defamed for the last maybe 25 years. So therefore, I think I shall be disappointed that I could not try my skills with the United Nations. But nevertheless, the BBC and Indian Express is left. So I would suggest from all this that those who want to be activists in politics or activists in social matters, they must learn the law, because these people take the advantage. They sit in a high office, and they've got this whole paid legal team, and they can they can make your life miserable. So if you know the law, then nobody can mess with you, and that's the message that I try to give by filing these cases.